Republican to jump into the 2024 race, but it highlights the fine line he'll try to walk to win the nomination. Joining me now, Tara Setmayer, Senior Advisor for the Lincoln Project and former Republican Communications Director. Tara, thank you very much for being here. You know, I find Senator Scott fascinating, a black Republican who isn't too shy in talking about race, but whose views on race can be problematic both within the GOP and in the general public. So, I mean, am I giving him too much credit?
Listen, Tim Scott, bless his heart, is trying to make a name for himself now, taking advantage of the fact that Republicans every election cycle need a racial pacifier. He's their racial security blanket in the race. Given all of the context of what's gone on racially with Trump and Republicans over the last few years, and even after the 2012 election cycle when Republicans did that autopsy and found that they've got to diversify the tent if they want to survive as a party. Well, instead, they went in the complete opposite direction. But the one constant has been good old Senator Tim Scott, the lone black Republican in the Senate. Listen, I respect Senator Scott's biography. His life story is great. It's the American dream and good for him. What I don't respect is the fact that with that American story, with his experience, with even as a conservative, I'm still a conservative, I'm just not a Republican, that he would still support Donald Trump. Last summer, he went out of his way during the January 6th hearings when he was asked about January 6th. Remember, he voted to acquit Donald Trump's impeachment after January 6th. He said, oh, yeah, I haven't been watching the hearings, and if Trump's the nominee, of course we'll support him. That I have no respect for, none whatsoever. I have no respect for someone that cannot take a firm position on where he stands on our democracy, on Donald Trump's existential threat to it, and the fact that the Republican Party has been abysmal on several issues that are important to our country today. He will not take a position. I mean, the 1990s called and they want their campaign video back. There's nothing extraordinary about what Tim Scott is doing. I mean, he's a big snooze and he has no chance. None whatsoever. Zip zero.
Well, tomorrow we're going to show a big chunk of his interview with Ali Vitale, where she asks him his position on an abortion ban, 6 weeks, 15 weeks, 20 weeks. You can't nail it. You can't nail the guy down. I love your phrasing, calling him a racial pacifier. And I think that, you know, his walking this fine line, I mean, he has criticized Donald Trump. He criticized him when Trump was president over Charlottesville and other things. But it just strikes me that whatever this line he's walking isn't going to go over so well within the Republican Party, simply because if you're going to be a racial pacifier, part of the pacifier piece is you don't talk about this. Don't talk about it at all. Or am I misreading that?
Yeah, no, he talks about it in a way that doesn't acknowledge certain systemic problems and historic, factual experiences in this country when it comes to race. So that's what I mean. I mean, I was one of those people during my 27 years with the party who also was not completely I think I was naive, actually, to how prevalent some of these issues still were systemically. But the Trump era has given me an opportunity to really see with much clearer eyes on what the hell's actually going on here and what still exists and how bad it is. But he won't acknowledge that. I don't see him coming out, speaking out against Ron DeSantis and his book banning and his CRT nonsense and the CRT nonsense of the Republican Party. That is a direct attack on his history as a black man in this country. Have some pride in that. Like, where is that, Tim Scott? You can't just be there and be a lukewarm, milquetoast Republican and then hide behind your biography and your life story and embrace race where it's convenient. But then when it becomes a little too hot with the people you need to vote for you, then you want to play it off and downplay it. And I have a problem with that. And listen, if he wants to run for president, good for him. But it's a vanity candidacy. And all it does is help Donald Trump secure the nomination. It's 2015 and 2016 all over again with these people.
And on that point, yes or no question, is Senator Scott really running for VP? Yes or no?
Oh, probably. Probably. Aren't they all?
I said yes.
I mean, aren't they all?
I said yes or no. You're like, probably.
No, I mean, probably. Why would he want to be VP? That should disqualify him there. Anyone who wants to be the number 2 to Donald Trump is disqualified to hold any office in the country, as far as I'm concerned.
And on that point, we got to go. Tara Setmayer, as always, thank you very much for coming to the show.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Coming up, the art of communication. I spoke with Pfizer